Hi guys, how's it going? Hi everyone. We'll get started in a couple of minutes. Hi to the people that are joining. Hi Julie. All right, well we got 45 minutes of power ahead of us, and my name's Jordyn. If you have not met me before, I teach Go Yoga, and I also teach OU for the people that are watching here. And yeah, we'll have fun. A lot of different crazy things that I like to add in. So feel free to take anything and leave anything else behind. I'll give lots of modifications. And we'll go ahead and get started. So we'll get started in a child's pose today. So coming to your mats, knees to touch, your knees nice and wide, and then start to walk the hands out, letting the forehead rest on the mat. And starting to create in your body. So feeling free to spread the knees is not as wide as you like. Maybe take the arms the width of the mat. And starting to breathe into all the spaces of your body. So letting the breath flow all the way up to the fingertips. And let the breath flow all the way down towards your toes. And starting to leave some room and some space in your life for things that's not yet happened yet. Leaving room for trust in what's to come. And taking a moment to find gratitude for what your yoga practice has brought you or what it can bring you. Moves you through life with more ease, through relationships with more passion and love. It allows you to move through life with an open heart with no clinging or resistance. And that's the longevity of this practice, not the crazy poses and all the movements, but that's just amplifying all these other more important factors. Next inhale, fill up from the bottom of the belly. Bring the breath all the way to the top of the chest. And exhale, release everything out. We'll start to crawl the hands over towards the top right corner of the mat, sitting down into that left hip. Breathing into that left side body. And then walking the hands back to center, we'll walk them over towards the left. Now sitting into that right hip. Breathing in, and then walking hands back to center. We'll shift forward into a Sphinx pose. So coming forward however you want, and then sliding the feet back, letting the tops of the feet root down. Elbows under shoulders, all 10 fingers spread nice and wide. Using the hip points and tops of the feet to drive the chest through the gate of the arms. One more breath here. And lower everything down. We'll bring the fingertips off the sides of our mat. Next inhale, lift the chest up towards the sky. Exhale, lower down. Inhale, lift and fill. Exhale, release. Last one, inhale, lift and rise. Exhale, lower down. We'll plant the palms under the shoulders. We'll press it up to tabletop. And feeling free to take any kind of movements here, some cat-cows, or maybe some side body stretch. Maybe you choose to flip the fingers around 180 degrees. Just listening, tuning into your own body. Maybe even close down the eyes. Get a better feel for how you're doing. And we'll plant the palms back on the right way if you flip them. And then we'll tuck the toes, lift the hips, downward facing dog. And letting this first down dog be an expression of how you're feeling right now. So maybe you want to find stillness. Maybe you choose to pedal out the feet. Shake the head side to side. And on your next inhale, look to the top of the mat. And start to walk the feet up to meet the hands. Either grab for opposite elbows, or if you're feeling pretty warm already, option to wrap the arms around the back of the legs. Keep dropping the head as the tailbone lifts up. And release whatever you have. On your inhale, halfway, let's bring hands to the shins. Exhale as you fold in. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Last one, come up to a flat spine. And all the way back down. Next inhale, rise all the way up to standing. Reach the arms overhead. And exhale, draw hands to heart center, closing down the eyes. Next inhale, reach the arms overhead, big breath in. Exhale, do hinge at the hips. Inhale, lift up halfway. And we'll plant the palms, we'll step it back to a high plank. Shift forward on the toes and lower all the way down to our bellies. Let the tops of the feet root down, fingertips off the side of the mat. Next inhale, lift up, King Cobra. Exhale, lower down. Twice more, lift up, breathe in. Lower down. Last one, inhale, lift. And exhale, lower down. We'll plant the palms under the shoulders, press up through your high plank or tabletop. On your exhale, downward facing dog. Next inhale, shift the gaze forward. We'll take a hop or step, feet to the hands. Lift up halfway. Exhale as you fold. Rise all the way up. And exhale, hands meet at heart center. Inhale, arms extend overhead. Exhale, forward folds. Halfway, let's breathe in. We'll plant the palms, this time step or float back, lowering halfway or all the way down. Upward facing dog or cobra, let the chest pull forward. And downward facing dog, let the hips rise. Taking 2 rounds of breath. And on that next inhale, let the right leg sweep high, 3-legged dog. And we'll bend the knee here, stack the hips, maybe find some rotation in the knee, the ankle. An option to come down onto that left forearm, finding a little deeper stretch. Maybe you take the gaze underneath the right armpit. Maybe find that right knee. We'll take 1 more breath in. Then plant into the left palm. If you lifted the forearm, reach straighten the right leg. Then exhale, step the right foot in between the palms. We'll keep the left palm grounded, right arm reaches towards the sky. So check in with the hips. Make sure they're square towards the front, and then stacking the shoulders on top of each other. Maybe you let your arm go beyond your midline. Take the gaze and follow those right fingertips. Keep breathing into the hips. 1 more breath in. On your exhale, you'll drop the hips to a hover, and then reach the right hand towards the back of the room. You always have the option to drop down to that left knee or drop hips all the way down to the mat. We'll take the gaze to the back, strong through this left hand. Feeling into the sensations of that outer right hip. 1 more breath here. And then we'll replant the right palm around the right foot. In a big movement to the back, we'll find a side lunge to the back. We'll bend into the left knee, but just come halfway down, so not all the way down. We're gonna fire up this left quad. And then pull the right toes back towards your face. Sitting up nice and tall, bring hands to heart center. Then driving this left heel down. Sinking hips low. Last 2 breaths here. And now if you choose to find your hips all the way to the mat, go ahead and drop them down. You can use the hands to rest on the mat or keep hands at heart center. I don't know why I always choose to start this way, facing the wall, and just flip around next time. Keep breathing into the spaces of your hips. Maybe you do a little self-adjustment by pushing away that right thigh. 1 more breath here. Next inhale, we'll rise up to warrior 2, bend into the right knee. We'll take the arms out to T. We're taking the gaze down towards the foot and the knee, noticing the toes pointed forward, and that knee tracking right over that ankle. See if you can continue to deepen the bends and soften the shoulders down. Take 2 more breaths here. Keep driving the back left foot into the mat. On your next exhale, frame the right foot. We'll find a standing split. Left leg goes high. Let the head drop heavy. Feel free to let the hips stack open. So creating so much space in the hips. Option to keep the hands grounded, or maybe you play around with balance. One hand to the ankle, or maybe both hands to the ankle. Take one more breath here. On your exhale, left foot meets the right. Lift up halfway, flat spine. Exhale as you fold. Rise all the way up. And as you rise up, we'll rise up onto the tippy toes. And sink the hips down into a chair. So feel free to drop the heels or keep them lifted. We'll pull that low belly in, dropping the hips low. Hips to fingertips are long. And the breath is strong. Last 2 full breaths. On your exhale, drop the heels, straighten the legs, forward folds. Inhale to a flat back. Exhale, we'll plant the palms. You can step or float back the lower halfway or all the way. Up dog or cobra, chest pulls forward. Downward facing dog, hips go high. Next inhale, we'll sweep the left leg high. Bend into the knees, stack the hips. And keep dropping the left heel towards left or right glutes. Option to stay here, drop down onto that right forearm. You take the gaze underneath of the left armpit, finding that left knee. Next inhale, press back into right palm, reach straighten the left leg out. On your exhale, send left foot in between the hands. We'll keep the right hand grounded. On your inhale, left arm reaches high. We'll follow the gaze up towards the sky. Keep finding energy from that right palm and reach through those left fingertips. Keep lifting the hips high. On your exhale, drop the hips to a hover. We'll reach towards the back of the room with the left hand. Not sinking into this right shoulder, but instead pressing the earth away, reaching out of the right shoulder. And letting this bottom leg, the right leg, be strong. So firing up that quad. One more breath in. We'll frame the left foot. So we'll find that side lunge to the back of the mat. Right knee bends, but just come halfway down. So sinking hips back, we'll pull the left toes back towards our face. Bring hands to heart center. Keep sitting hips out towards that back right corner. 2 more breaths here. And then let the hips soften all the way down. You can drop the hands or keep them at heart center. If you want a little self-adjustment, placing the left hand on that left quad and pressing it away as you guide the right elbow towards the inside of the right thigh. Our next breath in will rise up to warrior 2, bend into the left knee. The right pinky toe is driving to the back, so the arms come out to T. Now checking in with this side, noticing that left knee stacked on top of that left ankle. And keep bending till you notice it. Keep moving towards that challenge and sensation. Tucking the tailbone under. 1 more breath here. And on your exhale, frame the left foot, standing split, right leg goes high. And this side could be completely different. So you can choose to take that challenge with the balance, bringing one hand to the ankle, maybe both. And simply stay here with the head relaxed, the fingers light on the mat. Last full inhale. Exhale, right foot next to the left. Inhale, lift up halfway. Exhale, folds. Rise all the way up. Come up onto the tippy toes. Then drop the hips down into that chair. Squeeze the inner thighs, the outer hips in towards the center. You're squeezing a block in between your legs. Soften the shoulders. Bring the biceps alongside the ears. Last full breath in. On your exhale, drop the heels, forward folds. Inhale, halfway lift. We'll plant the palms, step or back, lower down. Up dog or cobra. Downward facing dog. And we'll move through that same sequence, but following the pace of your own breath. We'll come back to this breath together. Inhale, filling the belly. The sides of lungs, all the way to the collarbones. And exhale, release it out. Next inhale, right leg high. Bend the knee, open the hips. Option to drop down to that left forearm for 1 breath here. And press back up, straighten the right leg out. On your exhale, send the right foot in between the hands. Twisted lunge, right arm reaches overhead. Breathe in. Exhale, hips sink down, reach towards the back of the room. Next inhale, big movement, rise all the way up. We'll bend into the left knee, to the back of the mat, just halfway down. And then lower hips all the way down. Plant the palms, keep them at heart center. You can use the palms to walk forward. Use the strength of your legs, rise up to warrior two. One breath here. Deep exhale, frame the right foot, standing splits. Kick the left heel high. And on your exhale, fold in. Lift up halfway, flat spine. Exhale, release. Rise all the way up. Move on to tippy toes. And sink the hips down, super deep, just one breath. Exhale, soften the heels down, forward fold. Lift up halfway. We'll plant the palms, step or float back. We'll meet in downward facing dog. And then downward facing dog, inhale, left leg high. Bend into the knee, stack the hips. Option to drop down onto the right forearm. Inhale, press back up into right palm, straighten the left leg out. And send the left foot in between the hands. Left arm reaches towards the skies and twist to the left. And exhale, soften hips down, reach to the back of the room. Inhale as you rise back up. Big move into the back of the mat. Right knee bends just halfway. Taking a pause. And lower all the way down. You can use your hands or keep them at heart center. Inhale as you shift forward out to this warrior two. And exhale, frame left foot, right leg goes high. On your exhale, fold in. Lift up halfway, flat spine. Exhale, another fold. Deep inhale as you rise up, come up onto tippy toes. Then sink the hips low, one chair. And exhale, folds. Halfway lift, flat spine. We'll plant the palms, step or float back, high to low plank. Up dog or cobra. Downward facing dog. We'll run through that one more time. Inhale, right leg high. Dropping down to left forearm, bending into right knee. Inhale as you press back up, straighten the right leg. Send the right foot in between the hands. Inhale, twist to the right, right arm reaches high. Exhale, sink the hips, reach towards the back of the room. Inhale, big movement, use the breath, bend into the left knee, just halfway. And exhale, lower all the way down. Inhale, shift it out, warrior two, arms to T. Then exhale, frame right foot, standing splits, kick it high. Exhale as you fold in. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, release. All the way up to standing, raising the heels. And sink it into chair pose, one inhale. Exhale, soften, forward fold. Halfway lift, flat spine. We'll plant the palms, send it back high to low plank. Up dog or cobra. Downward facing dog. Last side, inhale, left leg high. With the knee bends, drop down onto that right forearm. Inhale, press it back up. And send the left foot forward, reach the left arm towards the sky, breathe in. And sink the hips down, reach to the back of the room. Inhale, rise all the way up, bend into the right knee, hands to heart center. And sink the hips all the way down. Inhale, shift it forward, eyes go forward. Into warrior two. And then exhale, frame left foot, standing splits, one inhale. And soften right foot down. Lift up halfway, flat back. Deep release. All the way up to standing. Last time for this chair in this sequence. Sink the hips down. And soften the heels, forward folds. Lift up halfway. And on your exhale, we'll travel back and we'll meet in downward facing dog. And once you arrive to down dog, take 3 cycles of breath. Creating space in the chest as you breathe in. And creating depth as you breathe out. One more inhale. And same deep exhale. We'll walk the hands back towards the feet. And we'll bring weight into the left foot and then sweep the right leg high into another standing split. Dropping the crown of the head. And if you feel like moving towards more challenge, you kept both hands on the mat last time. Maybe you try to pick up a finger or two or a hand towards the ankle. And then plant the hands back on the mat if you lifted them. We'll stay here for the inhale. On your exhale, we'll tap right toes towards the right wrist. So it doesn't have to touch, but just bring the right toes forward, using the core to lift the toes up. Inhale, swing the right leg high, standing split. Exhale, tap toes towards the wrist. Inhale, kick it high. Exhale, toes towards wrists. So last time, sweep it up. And exhale, we'll hold here, bringing toes towards the wrist. And keep sliding the toes up, using the strength of your core. One more breath in. And keep the toes lifted. We're gonna walk the hands out to a high plank. So you can always drop down to that left knee. We'll stay off with the left knee. We'll have the toes raised to a hover off the mat. All 5 toes spin down. Hugging the low belly, hollowing out the front body. Breathing from head to toe. Last full breath in. Let's take a big step with the right foot forward. And on your inhale, rise all the way up to standing into a crescent. The right knee is bent. We'll reach the arms overhead. And now straighten out the right leg. We'll drive right heel into the mat. And start to pull the right toes back towards your face. So you can lift a big toe, all the toes, or maybe even the arch of the foot. So high in those left toes will definitely make you sway side to side. Keep feeling into the leg, driving that heel down. One more breath here. And then exhale, keep the legs as is. We'll start to shift forward, hovering the torso. And flying the arms back. Keep the toes lifted. Even just a toe. Keep moving towards that challenge. One last breath in. And then bend into the right knee, reach the arms overhead, crescent lunge. Keep the space in between the feet, the back of the left leg pulling up towards the sky. Dropping deep into the hips, pulling the left hip flexor forward. Now open arm twist, right arm back, the left arm reaches forward. Keeping the hips square towards the front as you reach forward with the left fingers and right back with the right fingers. That wasn't right. Maybe take the gaze towards the back of the room. Now we're gonna straighten out this right leg. You know it's coming. Either stay here or drive the right heel down, pull the right toes back towards your face. And concentrate the mind. Steady that breath. One last breath in. And then we'll bend the right knee, find that twisted lunge, left arm down, right arm high. Definitely feel into this outer right hip now. And then we're gonna send it back to a side plank. So option to take the peace fingers to the big toe of the right foot, and send it back, or you can plant the left palm down, step the right foot back into your side plank. You have the option of dropping the left knee down to the mat. Or if you have the big toe, grab, keep lifting the right heel up. Maybe you release. Play around with your side plank. With each inhale, you lift the hips. Each exhale, you hold. One last breath in. We'll move through a high plank through center, then dropping down onto the right forearm, dialing heels down to the right, and reach the left arm overhead. Once you have the shoulders stacked, you reach the left hand towards the front of the room. You can drop down to right knee or keep it lifted. If you have a lifted option for another little challenge, driving the right knee towards the right elbow. I don't know if you can see it. The right knee, not the left knee, towards the right elbow. Keep lengthening through left side body. One last inhale. And we'll set the right foot down, come through your forearm plank. One last breath in. And exhale, lower everything down. Let the tops of the feet ground onto the mat as the chest pulls forward. Catching your breath, letting the chest up. And exhale, release the chin down to the mat. We'll press it up through high plank or tabletop. Exhale, downward facing dog. Next inhale, shift the gaze forward. And then step or float feet to the top. Lift up halfway. Release, fold, and rise all the way up. Coming up onto tippy toes. This time we aren't going to the chair. We're going to sink it all the way down into our toe balance. Bring hands to heart center when you arrive. Notice all 10 toes tucked under. You can always drop down to the knees. Keep them lifted. We'll drop the hips to the mat. Either find a cross-legged seat, or if lotus is in your practice, go ahead and take lotus. And wherever you're at, you'll plant the hands along your side. And either lifting the knees or just the hips, or knees and hips. We're gonna hold for 3 deep breaths. So planting the palms alongside your hips. Next inhale, lift what you can. Driving the earth away. We'll stay here for 3, 2, and 1. Lower down. Let the hands rest on top of the thighs. Palms facing up towards the sky. Take 1 deep breath in. And a deep breath out. We'll do that one more time. Plant the palms on your side. Next inhale, lifting the hips, maybe hips and knees. We'll stay for 3, 2, and 1. Lower down. Uncross the feet. We'll plant the palms to the top of the mat. You can step or float back in a downward facing dog, however you want to get there. And from down dog, unplug the hands, walk them back to the feet. This time grounding into right foot. We'll sweep the left leg high. So finding your standing splits. Again, you can play around with one hand or no hands on the mat. Then placing both hands back down on the mat. Stay here for the inhales. You take the left heel high. On your exhale, start to tap left toes towards that left wrist. Inhale, kick the left heel high, standing split. Exhale, toes towards wrist. Inhale up. Exhale, tap. Last time, sweep the left leg high. On your exhale, tap it towards the wrist and hold. Keep sliding the toes up the forearm, using strength of core and the breath. Now keep the toes lifted. Walk the hands out to your high plank. You can drop down to right knee or keep it lifted. But notice the hips squared, all 5 toes pointed down. And see if this right heel can drive over the right toes. It'll bring more fire and fuel into this right quad. Last full breath in. And take a big step forward with the left foot. On your inhale, rise all the way up. And sink into the crescent for a breath. And then we'll straighten the left leg out. And start to pull the left toes back towards your face. This is where we get real wobbly real fast. Again, it can be a toe, 5 toes, maybe even the whole arch of the foot. Keep driving that left heel down. And start to fly the arms back, hovering the torso over the mat. See if you can keep the toes lifted, breathing into the back of the left leg. Enjoying all these amazing fire sensations. One more breath here. And bend into the left knee, reach the arms overhead. Crescent lunge, so still high on those right toes, keeping the length in between the legs, the space in between the feet. Soften the shoulders down. And then open arm twist to the left arm back, right arm forward. And check in with this back leg, see if the knee is bent. Letting the back of the right knee pull up towards the sky. Keep twisting and twisting. Maybe take the gaze back towards the left fingers. Now straight into the left leg. Option to pull the left toes back towards your face. As you drive that left heel down. One more breath. And then rebend into left knee, right palm plants down on the inside of the left foot. Left arm reaches high. Let yourself feel into this outer left hip. Pull the left hip back. Move into that side plank. So option to grab big toe with the peace fingers, or just step the left foot to the back of the mat. Driving the right palm down and playing around with your side plank for 3 deep breaths. Maybe challenge yourself, take a gaze up towards the sky. Last full breath. We'll come through high plank. Drop left forearm down. Spin the heels to the left, reach the right arm up to start. So the hips, the shoulders are stacked. And then reach and extend through the right side body, fingers towards the front of the room. Stay here or drop the left knee down. Or if both knees are lifted, option to bring left knee towards that left elbow. Keep lifting through the right hip, extending through fingertips. Driving left forearm down into the mats. One more breath in. And come through center, forearm plank. We'll take a deep inhale. And to exhale, soften everything down. Let the tops of the feet root down. Option to stay in Sphinx pose or extend the arms forward. Softening the shoulders down. If you trace the collarbones with your chin. One last inhale. And then release all the way down. We'll plant the palms, tuck the toes, press up through high plank or tabletop. On your exhale, downward facing dog. Next inhale, shift the gaze forward. Then hop or step feet to the top. Lift up, flat back. Exhale, fold in. Rise all the way up, come up onto the tippy toes. So many toes and heel raises. Then sink it all the way down into that toe balance. Bringing hands to heart center. You close down the eyes. And then we'll drop the hips to the mat. This time finding a boat pose. So feet can be straight, or shins can be parallel to the mat. We'll take the arms out on our side, or you can place them alongside your hips. Then we'll hold here for 5 deep breaths. With each breath, you pull the chest forward, squeeze the shoulders together. Then suck the belly in towards the spine. Last 3 deep breaths. 2. And 1. Drop the feet down to the mats. Plant the palms to the top. You can step or float back. You can go right back to down dog or take a little extra push up along the way there. And on your next inhale, gaze goes forward. Then hop or step feet to hands. Halfway lift, flat spine. Exhale as you fold down. We'll heel till the feet out to about hips width distance. And grabbing the big toes with your peace fingers, lift up halfway. Then exhale, fold in. Feel the release in the hamstrings after all that heel driving into the mat. Let your belly soften around the thighs. Releasing that grip, lift up halfway, and then plant the palms, and we'll just step it back to downward facing dog. Next inhale, right leg goes high. On your exhale, step the right foot towards the right thumb, setting up for warrior 1. So we'll drop that left heel down. Then on your inhale, rise up, and extend the arms overhead. Noticing the 2 feet grounded to the earth. The energy going out through all 10 fingers. Then pull the arms alongside your ears. And let the right quad descend towards the mat. When the breath hits the back of your lungs, one last inhale. And then your next exhale opens you up to a warrior 2. So finding space between feet. Spinning up the inner thighs. And then we'll keep the legs as is. We're going to take the gaze towards the back of the room. This is a new fun one I just kind of figured out. So from warrior 2, we'll take the gaze to the back. Rise up onto the right toes. So right heel's lifted. And if you want to keep going, option to pull the left toes back towards your face. I know it's absolutely crazy. Take the gaze to the back, steady the mind and steady the breath. And let the heel and the toes soften down. We'll face the left side of the room, wherever you're at. Turn all 10 toes to face there. Take the hands to interlace with the low back. Open the chest. And then exhale as you fold in, dropping the head. Letting the shoulders rinse and release. Option for a headstand here if you so wish. You can just shift side to side. Drawing the hands towards the ground. We'll spend 3 more breaths here. And if you're in headstand, start to lower your way back down. Then releasing the grip if you kept that. Bring hands under the face. Next inhale, lift up halfway. Bring hands to hips. And then rise all the way up to standing. We'll turn to the top of the mat, all 10 toes pointed forward. Then we'll find another standing split. Right leg down, left leg sweeps high. Now here, if you want to play around with some handstand hops, go ahead, use some upper body strength to kick up. Maybe you switch the feet, or you just stay in that standing split. We'll take 1 more breath wherever you're at. And we'll eventually meet feet to the back of the mat. Upward facing dog or cobra. On your exhale, downward facing dog. Next inhale, sweep the left leg high. Send the left foot towards the left thumb. Dial the right heel down. Next inhale, rise all the way up. Arms extend overhead. Dropping deep into hips. All the sensations of the breath flow throughout your entire body. You activate the arms more by drawing the arms back, turning pinky fingers in. Next exhale, open it up to warrior 2. The left toes track forward. Enjoying this normal warrior 2 before the next crazy one. First tracking gaze forward. Steady this foundation of the legs, and then turn the gaze towards the back of the room. Stay here, rise up onto the right, left tippy toes. And maybe you pull the right toes back towards your face. Driving left toes into the mat, right heel into the mat, as the gaze tracks backwards. So much going on. We'll take 1 more breath in. And set everything down. We'll turn all 10 toes to face the right side of the room. Interlace the hands at the low back, open the chest. And exhale as you fold in, dropping the head, the hands. An option for headstand number 2. I'm just enjoying this fold. Headstand, slowly lower all the way back down. Then we'll release the hands if you have that binds. Inhale, lift up halfway. Bring hands to hips. And rise all the way up. We'll turn to the top of the mat. All 10 toes pointed forward. Then last standing. Left foot down, right leg sweeps high. An option to stay here or play around with some more handstand hops. Each side is going to be different. Then eventually meeting at the back of your mat. Step or float back. Press it right back to down dog or take another flow. And then we'll drop it down to the knees into a child's pose. Knees can be into touch or knees wide. Taking a few moments to rest as you walk the hands back towards the heels. Feeling into all this fire you created in your body. And walking the hands back forward. We'll tuck the toes, lift the hips, downward facing dog. Next inhale, right leg goes high. Nothing crazy here. On your exhale, right knee towards the right wrist, setting up for half pigeon. Left toes, walk back. Sit up nice and tall. You can stay here, start to fold over, letting the hands crawl forward. Chest melting down. See if you can keep dropping this left hip flexor down. And finding 3 deep breaths. And on your next inhale, walk the hands back up, raising the chest. And we'll tuck left toes, right leg goes high. Let the knee bend, the hips stack. Stay here, option to flip your dog. Right foot drops beyond the mat, reach up through right fingertips. And then travel back to downward facing dog. Inhale, sweeping left leg up. Send left knee behind the left wrist, half pigeon. Walk right toes back. First trying to square the hips down, dropping right hip down. Sitting up tall. Stay here, walking forward. Chest melts. Neck, the facial muscles all relax down. Sending all your breath and energy into the outer left hip for these next couple breaths. And start to rise back up, walking hands to shins. Tuck the right toes, left leg kicks high. Bend knees, stack the hips. Then dropping the left foot beyond the mat, reach up and over through left fingertips. And then come back to center, downward facing dog. We'll drop it down onto our knees. We'll cross at the ankles, roll all the way onto our backs. Hugging the knees in towards the chest. Taking some rock side to side. And then extending the feet overhead for an inversion. You can stay here, lift the hips up. Coming into shoulder stand. And wanting this to be the perfect balance between effort and ease. So still engaging the quads, pointing up through the toes. An option for plow pose, letting the feet fall beyond the head. Hands can stay on the low back or interlace. Rest towards the top of the mat. Next inhale, rise all the way back up, feet to the sky. Then bend into the knees, lower hips all the way to the let both soles of the feet plant down. Arms rest heavy along your side. Setting up for 2 bridge poses. Next inhale, big breath in, lift the hips, drive all 4 corners of the foot down. You walk the shoulders underneath the upper back. And exhale, release down, windshield wiper legs side to side. Option for bridge number 2, or if wheels in your practice, placing the hands alongside your ears. Next inhale, lift the hips, maybe the chest and the shoulders. Within your thighs and knees, coming towards the center. Last full breath in. And lower down, tucking chin in towards chest. You're in wheel. We'll take soles of the feet together, finding a quick recline butterfly. 2 breaths here. And hugging the knees in towards your chest. Take the arms out to T, legs fall heavy to the right as the gaze goes over that left shoulder. Just straighten that top leg out. As long as both shoulders are still soft and grounded to the earth. Next inhale, bring everything back through center and then drop legs over to the left. The gaze travels right. And on your next breath in, come back to center. We'll hug the knees, wrapping forearms around the shins. Give yourself a big squeeze. And then on your next exhale, let the legs go long. The arms rest heavy down by your sides. And allow the eyes to close. Taking up so much space. Maybe even take the arms overhead. Allow the breath to travel from head to toe. Your heart is open. That intention is strong. Letting the eyes close and spending a few moments here in your final resting pose, Shavasana. Feeling free to stay longer, enjoy. If you're ready, start to bring movement and awareness back into the body. Wiggle the toes and fingers. Reaching the arms overhead if they're not already there. And pulling knees in towards chest. Rocking side to side. And falling onto one side or the other into a fetal position. And let yourself rise all the way up to the top of the mat. Keeping eyes closed, bring hands to heart. Taking one last deep inhale as you fill up, reach the hands towards the sky. And exhale, bring hands to heart. Bowing into ourselves as we seal our practice in. Namaste. Thank you, everybody, for joining. Let's hook the practice today if you're taking it later. Thank you. I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your Thursday evening, and I will see you again next week.